Hello and welcome to this quick review, It's not like an in-depth review, but more of like just my thoughts and feelings of the A7S Mark II. I've been using it since it came out now, so it's been like a good few months. So I just kind of want to tell you about it because I have mainly positive feelings about this camera, but a few drawbacks to it which you should probably know about. So let's get into it. So recently I've switched from the Canon 6D. I've always been using Canon, and this is my first Sony camera, and it's impressive, to say the least. Like, you turn this thing on and you'll take your first few shots with it and you'll be like, wow, the quality out of this thing is amazing. The ability to shoot 120 frames per second is fantastic, especially if you're a videographer. Now, I've done weddings, club shoots, music videos, short films with this camera. 4K in such a small camera is fantastic, and the quality out of it is great. Having worked with footage from the FS7, I would say you could probably match the two up, to be honest, especially if you're shooting in S-Log. If you shoot short films, then you will want to shoot in S-Log. Same goes with music videos. It really is great. Another key feature about this camera, which I don't actually think is always mentioned that much, but the in-body image stabilization is great, especially if you shoot handheld like me. If you're at an event or whatever, I like to keep a rig as small and as light as possible. Having that in there has been a massive help. As well as this, you've got the crop mode, the Super 35 mode. Amazing, so good if you're a videographer in like live events where, you know, situations always changing up. Get that extra little bit out of your lenses. I absolutely love this camera. However, there are a couple of problems with it which just, they could be fixed. They could easily be fixed. One of my main issues with this camera is the software. It just doesn't feel as refined as the Canon cameras. Like, Canon is just really slick. You know, it's really easy to navigate. You're using a Canon 6D to shoot video all day, it'll never crash. But on the Sony, it panics me. It scares me. I've been on several shoots now. I think it's crashed 4 times on paid jobs where I've just panicked. I thought all the footage could get lost. It worries me. This shouldn't be happening on a professional standard camera. As well as this, battery life. I don't mind that it runs out pretty quickly, especially if you're shooting 4K, but it's just part of it being such a small form factor, and I have big hands. Using this camera at first was a bit difficult, but it's not the end of the world. Get a battery grip for it and everything will work out just fine. You will get used to it. The camera alone in the UK costs £2,500, which is expensive. As well as the actual initial price of the body, coming from a Canon camera, I had a lot of Canon glass. I had to buy the Metabones adapter, which I know there are cheaper alternatives, but to be honest, I would just recommend going with the actual, Metabones brand. The thing is with Metabones though, is it's expensive. It costs around £300 if you're in the UK again. You don't really want to be spending that extra money on these things. The memory card as well, something I didn't know beforehand, which I probably should have known. You're gonna need a 64GB memory card, class 10, that can shoot up to 95 megabytes per second to use the camera in 4K. You should be aware of that as well. This memory card cost me about £50. Something else as well, which I found a little bit odd, is the time-lapse app. To shoot time-lapse on this camera, you have to buy an app. It's only £10, but it's the point. Like, you spend £2,500 on a camera, and then they're like, give me an extra tenner for this app. So, from an ergonomic standpoint, it's a nice camera. Like, visually, it looks really nice. And to hold, you do need a grip, I think, personally. Come on, why is that button? Why is that the record button there? Why is that still there? You know, things to fix for next time. I don't want these rattling around, these little hooks. I thought the camera was broken at first when I got it out of the box. I was like, there's a piece that's come loose. My panic was real. Yeah, move that record button, make it more obvious, move it. See, I've set mine up there to the custom 3 button. On a more positive note though, the flip out screen, love it, so good. I used to use the Canon 600D when I was starting out, and I love that camera because its screen is amazing, but please Sony, make it touch screen, and also, make it a full flip out screen. That'd be great, thank you. Of course, I've not spoken much about the ISO, but if you're looking at this video and you know about the A7S, then you'll know that this thing is an absolute beast. If you're a videographer, I've turned up at a lot of events where the lighting was just terrible. I've pushed this thing to maybe 25,000, 50,000 ISO. We've shot short films where there's been no light whatsoever. It's been getting really dark, and we're like, right, you've got to wing it. We've got to throw it up to 50,000 ISO, see how it goes. And it's amazing that you can actually do that with a camera like this. On a lot of other kind of DSLRs, in the past, we've been stuck at going up to about 32,000 ISO, and that's it. But love this thing, it's just great. Overall, absolutely love this camera. If you're on the fence about getting it and you've got the money and you're ready to upgrade, get this camera. The Sony A7S Mark II is amazing. All that's missing from this camera is a few firmware upgrades, a couple of design decisions, but it's nothing major that should put you off the camera, and I'm sure they'll fix it in the next iteration of the camera. Go buy it, it's great. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, hit subscribe. There's gonna be more videos to come. Leave me a comment. You can tweet me over at Twitter, at cam_ward. So yeah, thank you for watching. Stay classy. Known. You're gonna need a you know, an extreme memory. You can need an extreme memory card.